What's up?
Are we starting already?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's do it. We've been waiting around for a little while.
We got some Christmas action today.
Hey, we look like the holidays.
Merry Christmas.
What is that?
Happy
I was like, I don't know that song.
You don't know?
Well, I do when she sang it because you did it perfectly in tune. It sounded like the song.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Hey, give me a record deal, somebody.
Hey, I love it.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tug of More, just a conversation between two friends that work together in life and in ministry.
Yep.
And we know that God has something more for us.
Right. And there's a tug, a tension, a fight between where we are and where we want to be. And so we keep fighting. We don't give up. But how do we do it? So this is just a conversation about it.
I grew up playing Tug of War. I loved it. It was one of my favorite games to play, like in recess.
Yeah.
In high school, we had this thing called interclass games. Did you ever have that?
No.
You were like 9 people in Oklahoma school.
Right.
We had like millions of people in my high school. And so like we would have like these competitions between freshmen and sophomores and juniors and seniors.
Yeah.
I was always on the Tug of War team. I loved it.
Oh, of course.
And it's hard.
No, right.
It's hard to try to pull something.
I was a little runt kid, so I was just the one that they put in the spot that it didn't matter, and I would just let go because why? It was hard, and it would hurt your hands, and you might get trampled on. And I think sometimes in life, when we're going towards more, that's what happens. We start feeling like, oh man, I'm getting trampled on. What do I do?
It's a good thing you don't show up on Squid Games.
Hey, that's a bad
Straight
show.
pulled those dudes to death.
That is not a good. Yeah, no, that's not fun. Oh, we do not condone that show.
What is the Squid Games that you're speaking of?
What is that? I don't know. I don't watch TV filth like that. Yeah, I did.
There's all kind of, hey, it's about to be Christmas, Thanksgiving, like that.
Holiday.
People be watching some TV right now.
Yeah. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, dude, do you even need to ask?
Yeah, I already know what you're going to say.
I mean, some people argue that's not a Christmas movie, but I'll argue back with you. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I love Ernest Saved Christmas.
Oh, my word.
Y'all remember Ernest? Ernest P. World?
Yes.
I liked, actually, Rocky IV is a Christmas movie.
Rocky IV is a Christmas movie?
Yeah, he goes to Russia during Christmas and fights Ivan.
And so
it's barely a Christmas movie.
we watch the Griswolds every year. That's we do the Christmas story, like Red Ryder BB gun. You'll shoot your eye out.
Well, that's one that you have to watch because it's just like on TBS for
everywhere.
48 hours or something. Yeah.
I didn't grow up with cable though in Oklahoma, and so I know. I would go to my friend Josh's house and be like, we can watch a Christmas story because
What did you watch? You just had like 3 channels?
Yes. You didn't know that? Yeah.
Kind of depravity.
Hey, it's why I love
it's like a third world. It's like a third world country over there. Come on, Oklahoma, Texas is hot.
Hey, I don't know. No, those are probably, and Elf. Smiley's my favorite. So
Elf.
I love that one.
Yeah, The Grinch.
Yeah.
This is not a Christmas episode. What are we
we're
doing?
not even doing. I don't know. We just look like Christmas, so we're talking about.
All right, what's up?
What's up? What are we talking about today? It's I really wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, it's Whitney's pick day.
This is my one pick day that I have.
Out of 45 episodes.
Yeah, finally, I get to choose one,
Just
guys.
kidding.
I know. No, I wanted to talk about something that we've been real intentional about in our ministry, life, business, everything, and that is the idea of like the culture of honor. That when you work with people. When you're in dynamics of relationship, that it can be easy. You and I right now on the show, we tease each other constantly, right?
Yeah, more I tease you.
Yeah, that's probably
than
more.
You tease me.
Because then sometimes I do, and you're looking at me like, why'd you say that?
It's because I look tough, but I'm actually just a big
tender
baby.
in your heart.
I will cry at the drop of a hat.
Yeah. And so we've been intentional to build a culture of honor, one that goes up, down, sideways, all the way around.
Yeah.
Because we think it's super important. And so what's funny is now that we've been in this world of the way we do what we do, when we go and visit other places, other businesses, other churches, we notice now when they're missing that. I think that sometimes you don't realize you need it until you have it, and then you're like, whoa, they're missing it.
So let's talk first about what honor is.
Yes.
Honor is elevating someone else.
Yeah.
Honor is talking about someone or to someone in a way of respect and kind of elevating them, not in a put them on a pedestal or like gas them up, not that.
No, right.
But like showing respect.
No, right. I was going to say mutual respect, but then respect that kind of goes above the mutual, regular respect that we would expect from people. And I think you do a great job of it intentionally in every area where you honor people that are serving and volunteering that you might not even know, but you're so intentional to say thank you, to say that they're doing a great job, to call out things that are good in them. So it's like respect, but then also kindness. It's like simple words that we think are not a big deal, but it can so easily be lacking when you're tugging for more.
Yeah.
Because in more, you and I talk about all the time, we get in work mode. We're trying to get junk done, and we get frustrated by the people who aren't pulling alongside us. But what we found is if we'll actually honor them, we'll get more done along the way.
Yeah. If we'll just be kind, and if we'll, it's easy to try to want to pull people down.
Yeah.
If you throw a bunch of crabs in a bucket, the crab could climb out, but the other crabs will pull the crab down to try to get themselves down.
Yep.
And sometimes in life we live this like, if I can just pull the people around me down and step on them, then I can get out. But I think that instead, if we would honor those around us, if we would elevate, show respect to people around us, if we would push them up, it raises us in the process. But it feels kind of backwards. It's not like our natural human instinct.
No, it's intentional. I think you always say the thing that if we speak to things that aren't as though they are, they can become.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a big piece of what honor is, that we speak to the honor of who you are, who I see you can be, who the more that God's called you to. And if we can do that for each other, we elevate each other and ourselves.
No, that's really good. And you said at the beginning, there's honor up and sideways and down.
Yeah.
But I remembered a story.
Do it.
That I think was the first time that I remember wanting to be able to honor somebody.
Okay, I love it.
So it was at Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm from Michigan. And so up in the north, everybody has basements.
Yes.
And so we would always go over to one of my aunt's house for like Christmas Eve dinner. And my grandpa, my dad's dad, had a lot of like physical issues as he got older. He had a really hard time going up and down the stairs. But she had this big like kind of party room in the basement.
Yeah.
And it had like a walkout basement, to the backyard. And so it's where we would always go. And my grandpa, as he got older, he couldn't walk down the stairs. And so my dad and like one of my uncles or cousins would put my grandpa like in a chair.
Yeah.
And would carry him down the stairs.
Yeah.
And I remember like watching them do that as like a little boy.
Right.
And thinking like how cool it was that they were helping my grandpa. They could have just left him left him upstairs.
Right.
But
they could have said, sorry, we'll put on a TV show for you. And
yeah, but they did something that was hard work.
Right.
That was, I mean, dude, they're bent over. They got their underpants sticking out the back of their you know what I'm saying? They're like bumping into each other. But they did this hard thing to honor my grandfather so that he could be down and be a part of what was happening in the family. And so I don't know. I remember seeing that and thinking like, I can't wait until one day I'm able to help carry somebody into a place they can't get to.
It's really good.
And so I think that I've done that just a lot in life as I've followed other pastors.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to carry their podium out before they speak.
Yeah.
I've wanted to get them a bottle of water and like just
drive them to the airport.
Drive them there just to help.
Do whatever you can.
And I don't even know if I knew I was honoring them.
Right.
I just thought this is the honorable thing to do, because when you honor someone, you are now honorable.
Correct. No, exactly.
Instead of disrespectful.
I think what happens sometimes is that we want to be honored. We want to be people who are respected.
Someone carry me somewhere.
Yeah, someone. I work hard. I do a lot. But what the Bible, which is our context, tells us that like the servant of all, like that's what we're called to be. And so it's serving people, loving people, being kind to people. But when we're able to do that I think then in certain areas of life, then we learn that we can do it down. And what you're great at is honoring people down. You're the leader of our organization, and And so years ago, I was intentional to say, okay, we're going to make sure you are shown honor.
Yeah.
That people are going to know. They're not going to just call you Truston. They're going to call you Pastor Truston, because they're going to have honor behind the name even of who you are and what you do, and the gifting and the calling that God's placed on your life. And at first that could feel weird, especially in our dynamic, because I'm a girl, you're a boy, whatever. People are like, why is she being so whatever?
Well, and we're friends.
Yeah.
And so it was weird to like be at dinner.
Yeah.
And just laughing and be Trustin 1 minute, but then the next minute receive this honor. And it wasn't fake.
No,
but
and
it was intentional. It was
intentional, right? Yeah. It wasn't pretend. It was. I worked for a dentist office. I've told you that before, and like I knew the dentists outside of the office, but to the patients, they were the doctor. So I didn't call them their name. I called them doctor, whatever. In the same regard, in our ministry life, I was intentional. No, yes, I love and care about this person, and we can joke and tease each other all we want.
Right.
But in front of other people, I'm going to show the utmost honor. You won't hear me talk negative about you or down to you ever to anyone else, because I want them to hold you in that same place and regard.
Right. And I do for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we got to get to the upside and down. But before,
right. Okay, do that.
We've been in environments where there's not honor.
Right.
And so let's talk about the culture shift that needs to take place, and like maybe some symptoms if you're in a culture, in your business, in your home, in your ministry, where there's not honor being shown.
And likely, if you have not been intentional to have a culture of honor, you probably have a culture of dishonor. Yeah. Just because human nature is to, what you just said, the crab thing is to step and push. And so if you recognize that, you're not a scrub. You just now have to make some choices.
Being a critic or negative is the easiest form of human connection.
Absolutely.
Like, have you ever been in line? Have you ever been like in line at the grocery store?
Yep.
And the checkout person's like going slow or something. You don't know the people in line behind you, but it's so easy to turn to them and be like,
can't believe they're taking so long.
It's literally the easiest form of connection is to just be just to be negative. And so I think that in our own insecurities that sometimes we don't know what to say.
Yeah.
So we just say things that are kind of rude or like just not
jokey, sarcastic. Yeah.
And we just are punks sometimes. And
it builds.
We were at a pastor's thing not too long ago, and there was some of our team at a table and some of another team at a table. This other team was so mean to each other.
Right. We were like, whoa, what?
Why are you acting like this? Why are you saying this to each other? Like, this is the whole conversation was
yeah.
But instead you can just make a decision to honor.
Yeah. So you said if you're in that culture and you need to shift into a new culture, what's the things that we do? Well, the first one is when we decided to shift to a culture of honor, that's what we said. Hey guys, we're shifting to a culture of honor.
Yeah.
We were very intentional of like, this is who we will be. We've talked about our values before and how we do what we do is so important, but we will have a culture of honor. It's something you said from day one, and then we had to work towards it, and then we had to call it out when it wasn't honoring, when things weren't the way they should be. And then we had to, what I think is what you do the best, we had to lead it by example. We had to show it out loud.
Yeah. So you got to identify that there's not honor.
Yeah.
And then talk about what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And then in moments, make that decision to speak up instead of to speak down.
Right.
Just last night, I feel like we're always throwing Parker into these illustrations, but just last night we had a big worship night at Living Church. Hundreds of people came, we're worshiping, and at the end, I kind of get up to close, and I'm saying something about our student ministry.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm talking about our student ministry, and I said, where's Parker at? And Parker wasn't in the room. He was out praying with somebody in the lobby.
Yeah.
But in my head, the first thing that like comes to my human brain is make a joke about how he's out there slacking.
Right.
Right? And everybody, the room would have laughed. Man, Parker, he probably out there picking his nose, right? To say something that's dishonoring. But I know Parker.
Right.
I know whatever he's doing out there is something that is
ministry
and is beneficial. And what good does it do him? And what good does it do me to make a joke down?
Right.
Instead, I know that he's not in there. I said, hey, somebody go get him. I need him here.
Yeah.
I need him here. He needs to hear this.
Yeah.
God has a word for him. I took it up
Right.
to bless him instead of throw it down.
Well, what happens, I think, is in human nature, in that moment, like, we'll just break it down. You say that, and then the person you want to speak to is not in the place. So what would happen to, I'm not saying you, but maybe you, in that moment would be, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed.
For sure.
Because the person I'm calling out for isn't here. Oh, now I'm insecure.
Yeah.
Oh, so let me just speak negative about them so I get the laugh and I look cool.
Yeah.
But instead, so that's what we do, to think, oh, then I'll look cool. I'll look like the honorable one. But what we've learned and found is that when we speak with honor, we receive so much honor, because what that did instead was you called him out in a way of like, hey, get him, bring him in here.
He's important.
He's important. He's valuable. And you showing that value to him in the room builds so much value to you, because everyone around you is a leader, says, this is a leader I want to follow. That's someone I want to be around, because not only someone even posted about you later that great leaders are people that people want to follow, or good leaders are someone people want to follow, but great leaders are people who make other people feel like they're valuable and worthy to also be who they are called to be. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what showing honor does. And so while we were intentional for, hey, I'm going to show you honor, I'm going to show you honor, you are naturally an honoring person. That's who you are. It's your gifting. You love to not just honor, but also to show with kindness. You're a gift giver. You're one of those kind of people, that it has built such a culture of honor in our whole house. Man, that is so valuable and non-purchasable.
Non-purchasable. We at Living Church did not have a culture of honor
at all.
And I remember when I stepped into being the senior leader, we had a guy come in to speak. Right. And so my hope was that this guest preacher would honor me somehow. I love whenever I say something and I'm like, I hope he's going to get what I'm saying and say the story. And then you do. That's Lord. Exactly what I was thinking. I'm so glad. And so I'm sitting there and I brought this guy in to preach, and like the church is literally falling apart. Right. People left, people mad, all kind of things. Right. I've been here faithful, doing my very best to just keep the thing alive. And I'm hoping this guy is going to like say, he's known you a long time. I just hope he's going to say, you know, I've known Truston for 10 years and he's a hard worker and he loves the Lord. He treats wife good. Nothing. None of that. And I'm like, he kind of like told everyone like, y'all better get to work loving people. It's kind of what his message was, which was already And I remember you were so, disappointed afterward. Because I'm trying to shift the culture. And I think this guy can come in and he can just say some positive words. And it wasn't that his message was bad. It was great. And what the challenge he gave to people, I'm sure it helped and affected their life. But what we were hoping for is not what he But, you know, we talked about shifting the culture of honor, but you're the one who did it. No, well, thanks. But it was intentional. It was intentional. But I'm saying for me. Yeah. For people to respect me. Right. You have to. Nope. It'd be really weird for a leader of any organization to get up and be like, all y'all need to respect me. If you have to ask for respect, you definitely don't have any. Yeah, but I think that you shifted the culture. Yeah. I mean, you started clapping. Right. When I would preach. You would amen. Right. When it was, you go back and listen to some of our early. It's absurd. You listen to some of our early sermons 5-6 years ago. And I'm just up there preaching my guts out. And all you do is hear Rachel and Whitney for sure on the front row. Amen. No, all Oklahoma-y. Yeah. Clapping. And shifting culture is hard. No, it's super hard. It's heaviest to tug it in the beginning. Well, but you helped shift that culture. And I had to be willing to face adversity to do it. I've told the story. I don't think I've told it on the podcast though, that there were some other people in the room who had been a part of old culture that started literally mocking, taking, literally I caught him one day, taking, what do you call it? Tally marks of how many times I would either cheer or say, you got this, or amen, or that's good, or whatever. And I finally just confronted it because I was like, this is silly. This is who we say that we're going to be. Why are you attacking me for what I'm doing the thing? And what would have been easy would have instead, because it made me feel insecure. Absolutely, it did. It made me feel stupid that I'm just the blonde, loud lady. That's already the stereotype about girls like me. But instead, I was like,
hey, I just want to talk to you. Like, this is the culture we're trying to set.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Because that is actually doing super damage. So you have to call out, if you're trying to build a culture of honor, you have to call out anybody
dishonor.
Who's trying to, still bring dishonor.
You can't let dishonor live. And so we had a actual meeting at my house. I don't know if we've talked about clean the plate here, but we had a meeting at my house with all of our staff.
Yeah.
And I talked about, here's what our culture will be and here's what it won't be.
Yeah.
And I made a commitment and I said, I will not dishonor you.
Right.
I said, but you're not going to dishonor me or any other people on the team.
Yeah.
And like gave a real hard line of like, we're having a cultural reset. And at the end literally said, and you're going to grow or you're going to go.
Right. Absolutely.
Like we're not mocking each other.
No.
We're no longer teasing each other. We're not talking down to one another. We're not making up rude nicknames. We're not doing all these things anymore. And if you do it, you're not going to do it here.
Right.
And so that was hard.
Yeah.
But listen to our podcast, I don't give a crap.
Right. We don't give a crap.
Well, like whatever.
But that, you doing that first. So you as the head
setting
leader,
the tone.
You had to set the tone. You had to set the rules of engagement. But that gave me so much freedom to go and say, hey, you're not following what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Why are you doing what you're doing? And hey, that's dishonoring to me. It hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
But it's also dishonoring to the culture we're trying to build. That was super intentional. So one, the honor culture is not just up to the leader, the one leader. It's up to each person on the team.
Yeah.
And then you have to be willing to call it out, face the adversity of it, and decide what's more important.
Yeah.
And we definitely decided it was more important. And golly, the result of it now, 6 years later, is incredible.
Yeah.
Today, we're in a really incredibly crazy, wonderful season at Living Church. And we had a bunch of people working hard, blood, sweat, and tears, getting their hands calloused this morning. Yeah. And we flew in, not on an actual plane. We did not on an airplane, but we flew in into the room. You recorded something for Christmas. We said, hey, we love y'all. Smile, smile, hugs, hugs. And then we flew out to come and record this.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about it. Like, the culture of honor is such that instead of them being like, well, why aren't you working?
Why are you showing up to work day in some fancy fancy white shoe? You're wearing white shoes to a work day.
Right.
But instead I picked up a box and somebody said, no, Pastor, took it out of my hands.
Yeah.
They're like, we got it.
Right.
But it's because we've worked really hard to create a culture of honor.
But then that it trickles everywhere. That it's not just that you're like, hey, you better honor me. Okay, I don't carry boxes. But it's that you are so intentional to honor everyone.
No, I'm getting excited now.
Oh, okay.
No, it's great.
No, yes, good.
There's a TED Talk that we listen to.
See, I can pick a good topic to talk about too.
Whitney picks half the topics. We pick the topics together. There's a TED Talk that we've listened to a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I do not remember what it's called.
Which one is it?
The First Dancer one.
Oh yeah, the Crazy Dancer. How to Start a Movement.
There's a TED Talk called How to Start a Movement. We'll link it. Whoopsh. Okay, and I'm telling you, dude, this will change how you shift culture.
Yeah.
And it essentially in the TED Talk, there's a guy who's like showing a concert, and it's showing this guy in a field at a concert, this one guy dancing like a maniac. And he looks super weird.
He probably high, but whatever.
Hey, they're definitely on drugs. But so then runs up another guy who starts dancing with the first guy.
Yeah. And the first guy starts teaching him how to do it.
They're doing this weird move.
Yeah.
And then now these two guys are dancing in a field. And after a couple of minutes, here comes another guy and then more. And before you know it, like a mob of people are running and they're all doing this stupid dance.
Yeah.
And it's this idea, how to start a movement.
Yeah.
And the most important thing the first dancer did was honor the second dancer.
Yep. It literally says, if you see that he's treating the second guy as an equal.
Yes.
That in this dance, I'm not the head dancer and you're the sidekick.
Yeah.
We're dancing together.
Yeah. And so we've watched that a bunch of times.
And there's 1,000 leadership lessons in just this one clip.
We've showed it at conferences. We've taught it, all kind of things. It's worth watching. And it's honor.
Yeah.
It's honor in the goofiest form of these two druggies with no shirts on, dance on a hillside. But because he honored, a movement was able to start.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I've said it before, but the way you've honored me in not just being a woman in ministry, but a leader in this house, a pastor, a boss lady, whatever, all the words. Man, what you've done for me, I'm always forever grateful for, but also has set the tone for how we get to do what we get to do.
Yeah.
And so, I was intentional to shift and help shift. Mm-hmm. I was the first crazy or the follower to the first crazy dancer that is you. But then you did the reciprocal thing of it. And so because of that, man, we've been able to, I think, build one of the most honoring houses of places of worship and churches in, I think, the country, maybe the world. I don't know.
So, okay, let's talk about the directions that we honor. I think that one of the easiest places to start honoring is honoring what we would consider up.
Right.
But it's not honor for self-gain.
Yes.
So like if I see a pastor or have a mentor or somebody who is farther along, more maturity, advanced, accomplished more than I have, that should be an easy place for me to show honor. Now, some guys don't do it. Some dudes just want to flex everywhere.
Some people don't. That's a hard issue.
They can't learn nothing nowhere.
Right.
But I think honoring up is an easy, like, thank you for who you are.
Right.
Thank you for what you've done in my life. This person has made a major impact. Like, speaking over how important they are.
You can think of, if we met the guy who did the How to Start a Movement TED Talk, we would easily be like, bro, you've done so much to help our culture. Thank you. And so I think it's easy because you can point out things that they've done that are honorable, that are worthy of your respect. Yeah. But sometimes the other ones, I think, are where you have to be intentional.
For sure.
To decide to see it and then to call it out.
Yeah. So honoring people up, but then honoring your peers.
Yeah.
Honoring people that are like at near your age level. If you live in constant competition, you are going to have a very hard time honoring.
Yeah. You're going to have a hard time living, but you're also going to have a hard time. No, it's true.
Like, once you can, we were just talking today about how we have some friends who've planted churches or started churches, and they kind of go in with like two guys that are co-leading, and it just seems to never work.
Right.
Because they're in this like weird competition, and instead of trying to honor the other, they're trying to pull the other down and push themselves up.
Yeah. The hope is that we'll be, that we want to be seen. We want to be honored. And so instead of honoring those next to us, we're like, who sees me? Who wants to honor me? And again, if we can be intentional, it's a heart thing. It all goes together of that. We have to guard our heart and decide, hey, I'm tugging for more. I'm pushing for more in my life. I'm going to get where I'm supposed to be because God's going to take care of me and honor that. And I'm going to keep working hard, but I don't need anybody else to call it out. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to stay in my lane, but I'm going to call out the things in you because I'm going to help push you forward. I'm going to encourage you.
I'm going to ask you a question I already know the answer to.
Okay.
Have you ever had a commission job?
Yes.
So, me too. When you're working a job where you make money based off of commission, you do not honor the people that you work with.
No, so
you're trying to steal sales and
absolutely
screw them, and I'm going to hook myself up.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes in life, we still think we're working on a commission.
It's really good.
If I can make them look bad or weak or not enough, then I'm going to be perceived as more valuable.
Absolutely. I worked for cosmetic companies forever, fragrance companies, makeup, all the things. And we would be taught the things to say that would set our company apart. The things that were better than others. And so, they might tell it to us in a way that sounded nicer, but what they were really saying is our fragrance line has this much of a purity, an oil concentration, this and that. That one over there,
garbage.
Not so good. You're going to spray that. It's not going to last all day. But this one is going to be what you want. This one's from France. This one's from, I don't know where. I don't want to say a country and somebody get mad at me. But like
not France.
Not France. And so but they would intentionally teach you things like that. And I think that happens, I mean, even from a young age in school, like who's the line leader? I wanted to be the line leader every day, but I only got it on the rotation of 9 kids that were in my class. But
so honor sideways.
You got to
honor the people that are shoulder to shoulder with you, even if they're a little bit up or if they're a little bit down or wherever they are. There's no reason to talk in a positive way, to tell them good job, to speak well about them when they're not around. Right. Listen, you can badmouth somebody about anything.
Yeah. That's easy. Yeah.
You can point out something wrong with every person on earth.
Yeah.
It's easy. Right. That is not a gift. No. That is not a talent. That's called being a jerk.
Right.
What if instead of looking at the things that are weaknesses in people,
right.
we looked at the things that are strengths,
right.
and we honored them?
Yeah. No, I think for me, the reason why it was so easy to honor you up as you became the leader was because for so long we had been really good friends.
Yeah.
And you had always been one who honored all of us. And we see each other and honor each other well. And because of that, then when you were elevated to a higher level, I didn't go, oh, well, now my friend thinks he's so fancy. Instead, it was my honor to honor you.
Well, and because your husband always honored me.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And your husband honored me. Aaron honored me and spoke positively to me and about me and pushed me. Our whole friendship.
Yeah.
And so in our friendship, we were already honoring each other. And so it just flowed over into our organization.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's talk about honoring people that are, I hate to use the word beneath you because that sounds gross, but honoring people that are younger or
lower on the flow chart of your organization.
Or that it seems like they don't have anything to offer you.
Yes. No, right.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's exactly what you just said. It's easy to honor people that you're like, oh, you've made a difference in my life.
You can give me something. That's called selfishness.
Yeah. But to honor people who, what's in it for me? Nothing, is simply to say, hey, I'm going to call out the positive things I see in you. And it can be as simple and as intentional as a pair of shoes. So Rachel and I, when we're together, your wife, Rachel, and I, when we're together, we always make a friend somewhere because we're intentional to just say to this random person that we don't know that's not going to offer us anything.
Yeah.
You look so cute today, or, oh, this is so great. You're so awesome. They, in light of our life, are beneath us, not because they're beneath us, but because
you don't know.
I don't know them. Yeah. They have nothing to offer me. But what we found in doing that is that people light up. What? Thank you.
Yeah.
And the same is true in your organization. For us, we have a bunch of interns here at Living Church. And anytime I can see anything that any of them are doing great and just say, hey, you did that so well. You led that moment so well. You spoke with so much authority and confidence. You did this or that. The confidence that's instilled in them, the light that shines on their face, man, it pours back in. And what it really does is it ends up in the end that they do offer something to us. That in the end, they do pour back into our organization tenfold what they were doing before.
Yeah.
Just because of some simple words of encouragement and honor.
I remember when I was young and just kind of getting into ministry, I wanted to start traveling to preach.
Yeah.
And it's like I couldn't break into it. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get asked. I don't know if that's proper English. Nobody would ask me.
I had not been asked. I don't know.
And then finally, a buddy of mine asked me to come and preach his youth camp.
Yeah.
And it was 100 kids or something.
Yeah.
And I went and went great. And then a guy, John Catron, shout out if you're watching. He works in Springfield now. He invited me to come and preach the North Texas camp, 900 kids.
Yeah.
And he didn't need to.
Right.
Like big budget. He could have got anybody nationally, but he had seen me be faithful for years.
Yeah.
And he looked down to me.
Yep.
And he honored me to give me an opportunity to do something. And man, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that this guy who didn't know me paid enough attention to honor me, to let me step into some shoes that maybe on paper, I didn't look ready to fill.
Right.
And so now that I'm in the position that I'm at,
yes, it's great.
I love bump setting people.
Right.
I love helping people go and speak. We had a guy on our team who was not ready to go preach youth camps.
No, right.
But I told the guy that he could and that he would nail it. And I gave him a bunch of my sermons and I spent a bunch of hours walking it through and he nailed it.
Yeah.
And now he's able to go and teach and do some things. And man, it makes me so happy that he's able to do that.
This is a great thing that you're saying, because I think for anybody who's struggling with honoring down, like, I ain't got time for that, or they don't deserve it, is what you just said. Remembering that others have done what have others done for you.
Yeah.
Maybe no one ever has. And if that is true, I'm sorry.
Then
that
break
sucks.
the curse.
Yeah, but break the curse. I remember Pastor John McKenzie is one of the greatest leaders. We love him so much. And he's a great mentor and leader. And I remember so many times over the last several years has given us time and energy. And one day I just was like, in a moment of honor, which was easy because he's way above and has done bigger things than we have. I was like, thank you so much for what you've done. And he said, I remember when I was y'all.
Yeah.
And he said, nobody would call me back.
Yeah.
Nobody would meet with me. Nobody would answer any of my questions. And he said, I made a commitment then that when, to God, that if he ever helped me get where I knew he had called me to be, I would never do that. That I would always be one who wanted to help others.
Yeah.
And I think we can, as leaders, decide, hey, the gifts I have, why wouldn't I give that away? Why wouldn't I be intentional to, whether someone's done it for us or not? But I think when he said that, I remember thinking, yep, and we will too, always.
Yeah.
Because we face that.
Yeah.
People who didn't call us back until something good happened and then they decided they wanted to. But why not, be honoring because you never know.
Yeah.
Don't burn bridges, but also in honor, you never know where that's going to lead.
As I was reading in my devotions this morning, I read...
That made you sound so pastoral.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I did it. As I was reading it this morning,
in God's Word.
I was in Luke. And so I'm reading through the whole Bible this year, and I'm in Luke. So I still got a ways to go.
Well,
but that Old Testament is like the vast majority. So I'm going to nail it. I'm going to nail it. I got a month left.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm good. And so it's talking about Jesus' baptism.
Yeah.
And so Jesus shows up to John the Baptist, who's famous.
Yeah.
Mega famous from birth.
Yeah, right.
Mega preacher. Jesus shows up to get baptized, and John the Baptist says, I'm not even worthy to unlace your sandals.
Right.
Honor.
Yeah.
And then Jesus, who's the Son of God, goes down into the Jordan and humbles himself and lets John baptize him, and later calls him the most influential man ever born of woman. These two, Jesus and John the Baptist, you know what they did? They honored each other. They honored each other. Jesus doesn't need to honor anybody, but yet... later on at the end of his life, he washes his disciples' feet. Back in the day in the Bible, they didn't have sidewalks and scooters and stuff.
And fancy Nikes.
Yeah. They just had barefoot and sandals and camel poop in the road, right? I mean, it's a disaster.
Right.
And they didn't have chairs and tables.
No,
so when they would eat meals, they would just sit on the ground.
Yeah.
So you'd be sitting there eating your pita bread and your feet would be in someone else's face with camel poop on them. And so they would have a servant wash your feet when you walked into a house. And so Jesus and his disciples go, and there's no servant there to wash the feet. And so Jesus, the leader, the pastor, the miracle worker, it says he took off his outer garment and he knelt down and he washed their feet. He honored his disciples. And he says that the least shall be first.
Yeah.
And so I think that as leaders of any capacity, that what we're called to do is honor.
Right.
We should tell people they're doing a good job.
Right.
We should be willing to do something that feels beneath us.
Yeah.
We should have a meeting with someone who's not at the same level that we are.
Be willing to give them free wisdom and advice. Be willing to call out some great things in them that you see them doing. Just honor people, y'all. I mean, I think the story of John the Baptist and Jesus, what I love about it is, Son of God and greatest...
super preacher.
But also they were cousins. Yeah. And so they were friends. They were bros. They knew each other since they were 4 since they were born actually, but they played together when they were 4. If you're struggling in a place of honor, maybe you're in not the main leader. And so you're where I am, the organization that I'm in is not an honoring culture. I can't do nothing about it. Yes, you can.
Start.
You and your friend can decide, hey, we're going to start showing honor to each other and start your own movement and let it trickle out to the people around you. I think that it's intentional that they were showing us not just being super people, but also just being cousins and brothers in Christ, that they were in Christ, whatever, that's weird. But that they were honoring each other, and that we can do that whether we're parents in our home, whether we're leaders of an organization, whether we are just working in a department or whatever we're called to do, that honoring our friends and showing honor rather than being that table. Man, I remember going to the PTA meetings with the women thinking, golly, I don't want to go. They're going to pick at each other and whatever. But there was this one lady who was always so kind and joyful and honoring to everyone. We can be that person no matter what area of life we're in.
Yeah. Just start honoring.
Just start it.
Just start shifting the culture of your business, of your church, of your organization, of your friend circle, of your family. If you're walking through a forest every day, eventually a path's going to open up.
Yeah.
And over time, that path's going to get wider and wider and wider. The same thing happens in our communication strategies.
Yeah.
And so if you're in a dishonoring culture, there's a freeway of like mobility in how you talk down to people. Blaze the trail, man. Like, I know that nobody around you is honoring anybody. Just start.
Yeah.
Just start being kind.
No, and the worst thing they can do is tease you, mock you, and you just keep doing it. And I promise you, it will return. Like, in the end, now we have an honoring culture, and I'm grateful for it.
Cool.
Yep.
Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you have any questions, hit us up.
Yep.
We want to answer any questions that you've got.
At all.
Hope everybody has a great holiday.
That's right.
We'll see you next week.
That's right.
See ya.